We played many board games in February, but which ones are new and notable to us? Hi, I'm Julian and this is Libby and we are from BoxedMeeples. So, as always, we're going to go run through everything we played in February using the power of Libby's list.
Yeah, we don't always mention all of the games we play, but we certainly do always mention the ones that are new to us. And as of late, we've been doing the most notable ones as well, because we're trying to get some old ones back to the table or just particularly fun games. And maybe we'll have a little rundown about what challenges and how we are doing on those at the end as well.
Your BG Stats challenge you set for us, which
exactly.
It's just a mystery to me, but then occasionally you recommend, let's play this random game, and I don't quite know why, but then I learn it's going to contribute to some sort of random
it starts
list.
with the letter P or something.
So where should we start?
Yeah, well, let's start with some of the newer games to us. Just going down on the list here. I got you as a bit of a Valentine's gift, a next instalment in the Century Golem editions. This was the Eastern Mountains?
Yes, yeah. So we've got the... I've played Century Spiceway before, so I knew the Golem edition, but I hadn't played this one. But I was keen to get more of them because I know how they expand together, and the more you kind of bolt together, the more complicated it gets. So although their games start quite accessible and immediately engaging for, entry level kind of games.
Yeah, I think the base one is one of my favourites as a sort of entry game for newer gamers, actually. Yeah.
Once you mix them together, they get more and more complex to kind of our level. And then I think you can make them even more complicated and bigger and grander for a whole kind of evening extravaganza. We haven't done that. We've only got the 2 at the moment. But I liked it.
Yeah, I liked that one too. We've only played it the once so far, and we haven't combined it yet, which I'm excited to be able to do. But it was interesting.
It felt different yet familiar.
Exactly what I was going to say. I was going to use that exact familiar word, even though the gameplay's quite different. You're travelling around the tiles rather than just sort of mainly really card play. What you're achieving sort of feels familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it was nice to be playing something that was familiar and had new things to think about, because when you play a lot of any one game, particularly when you're introducing it quite often, you kind of get into a pattern of ways to play. So it's nice to play something that shifted that a bit. Yeah,
and I'm interested to see how they combine together. So we'll probably speak about that another month once.
It felt a little bit like an expansion to a popular game, to a game of cards. I'm keen to see how they work together.
You played a favourite of yours that you've mentioned. You did play Colt Express.
Yes. Well, we talked about it for a favourite game Friday, so I thought, well, let's play that again. And it's always fun to play it. I forget how much fun and silliness it is, but it's a fun, silly one to play, so I'm pleased it got back to the table.
And I can't believe that you didn't talk about the DeLorean
when
you were talking about it. One chance to put in a Back to the Future thing that you rarely get. People have been picking me
up on this. Yeah, we do have and I didn't include it in the shots, but we do have the DeLorean car. Well, it's called a time travelling car. And it's clearly it's referencing Back to the Future 3. And I didn't mention it, and I was kicking myself when I mentioned it. How did I not mention it?
What a fool.
Of course I have the Back to the Future expansion for it.
We managed to play one of my favourites, which I'm really pleased we managed to get to the table. Got a 5-player game of Dwellings of Eldervale. So again, not new to us, but that was a really fun game. We were introducing some of my friends to it, and both of our friends. It was a combination of people that had played before and people that hadn't. So that was really good fun. Always a good game.
Yeah.
Makes me want to play it more and more every time we get it out.
I think I said when we were playing it, every time we play that game more than others, it's always a case of we need to play this more because it's such a good game. It's really fun. Yeah. I hate it when you introduce the game to people who'd never played it before and then they thrash you. It's like they got some natural gift going on there, but that's what happened again.
Yeah. I will.
It's
always next time.
Well, I did learn that if you're playing Dwellings of Eldervale, you have to consider expanding your tableau.
I mean, it is a whole part of the game that somebody chose to ignore.
Well, because it's called Dwellings of Eldervale, I thought let's just do lots of dwellings.
Yes, but how do you afford them if you don't do the tableau?
Yeah, it wasn't the best plan. I didn't obviously do very well, but
it reminded us all about how you just used to do the Raptor technique on Wingspan and never won. It was the same again, wasn't it? Never mind. We managed to get in a couple of games of Endless Winter Paleoamericans, which I was super excited about, and it was my game of the month.
Game of the month, so we won't talk too much about that, but if you want to watch that, it's in the a link in the description. There's a video appearing somewhere on the screen to click on through to that. But yeah, it's
I had a great time with that, and we managed to put in some of the little module things, like we played the canine expansion where you can bring little dogs along with you. I mean, what's not to love about that? And I'm looking forward to putting in the rafts and the rivers and some of the other expansions to see what more we can get from that.
My main takeaway from that was I was relieved it felt different to particularly Arnak and Dune Imperium. It did feel like a different experience, which is a relief.
Yeah,
because I'd heard otherwise, but I don't believe that. I think they're all kind of their own thing.
No, 100%, yeah. And I think this has got lots of different bits going on with like the monoliths at the side and things. There's a lot of different bits and bobs for you to consider. There's collection with the creatures, so lots of. It's a bit of a mishmash of things that you're trying to do, but I think it kind of comes together quite well.
Because they're all good things it's trying to do.
Yeah,
it works.
It works nicely. So I enjoyed that one immensely. We played Fjords.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the start of the month.
It was, yeah.
And we played it we played another game already that day, that evening, and it's a case of we've got a little bit more time, what should we play? I enjoyed it. I'm pleased you didn't buy it when you had the opportunity to.
Yeah, I almost got one of the Kickstarter versions at some point because, I like the Viking stuff, so Fjords and things seems like, and I did enjoy it, and I would certainly play again. I'm just not sure if it was on our shelf how often we would pull it out to play against some other games. I think it'd be nice to play again to sort of, get your head around optimum placement and how things are going to move once you're doing all different that's different stage. And
for me it had kind of Carcassonne vibes,
which is not my favourite of the games, which is probably a little bit controversial opinion.
I like the twofold nature of it, and you get to see kind of how it plays out, but then by that point, if you know you haven't done the right things, it's just a case of watching other people win, which is never particularly fun. But it was nice to play, and I'll play it again. But
I would play it again, but wasn't wowed initially, so we'll see. We finally got one that's been on the shelf of shame for a long time. Homeland, the game played. I mean, it is a 3+ player, which is one of the reasons why it has sat on the shelf for such a long time. But I mean, you must have got that.
I got it
2 and a bit years ago, maybe more.
I'm trying to remember where I was working at the time, because I got it from a charity shop for £2.50 or something. And it's a really nice production, made by the same people who made Firefly.
Right, yeah.
So they do a good licensed game, and the fact it is a licensed game, I don't think means it's a simple, easy, accessible game. And I can see why it hadn't been punched, because just opening the rulebook, if you bought it going, I love Homelands, this is great, and then having this game, which is quite a complicated game, might have been a bit derailing for someone who'd only ever played Cluedo before. It took us a while to get our head around it. I'm not going to lie, it took a bit of time for me to learn all the rules enough to teach it. And I think for us it took a little bit of time to click into place on how it all works. I think the best description of it is that bit in Battlestar Galactica stretched out for an entire game. That kind of bluffing, doing the missions and then playing cards like you do in Battlestar Galactica when you have the objectives and you have to play cards down, and one gets added in and mixed away and taken away. But the problem, and this is something our friend pointed out, I'm kind of stealing his observation, was you had to memorise a lot of things as you played, and where cards had been placed and who'd placed them there. And
those cards are moving as well. So it's I suppose it's a bit Colt Expressy in the having to remember this going there and then that was there and that's now shifted up to that.
But the repercussions of that are quite severe.
Yeah.
And you can lose a game simply by not being able to remember where everything was. And again, I'm stealing from him, just having card shields so you can see it disguises what you're collecting, because when you're collecting certain tokens, it becomes very obvious what your role is.
Yeah.
And there's ways you could disguise that but that's just kind of counterproductive to you winning.
Well, exactly. I mean, I spent most of the game choosing not to do optimal play for my character for points at the end because I was trying to disguise who I was. So I was having to always discard things that I wanted to keep in balance with other things so that people couldn't tell. And then it's only in the last couple of rounds that you're then trying to hoard them and hope that by now it's too late or something.
Yeah, so being able to disguise that would have worked.
Yeah, that would have worked a lot better.
If I'd played it at an expo, I wouldn't have bought it. I'm pleased I paid £2.50 for it. I don't think we're going to play it again, or I don't think we need to keep it for a long period because there's other kind of games, bluffing games, that I enjoy way, way more.
Yeah, and I think we potentially, I mean, you've played quite a few of that sort of bluffing or, hidden role, hidden agenda kind of games before, and I think if you hadn't have played so many of that style of game, maybe you would have been a little bit more wowed by it. Whereas I think you've probably progressed through up, and because you've played so much better games that have sort of honed that and fine-tuned that sort of style.
For me, that being the bluffing element being the main event, it was too drawn out a game. I'd like to have that as a quick game. I'm thinking of Hollywood. 1947, which we've really, really enjoyed.
Which we played again this month.
Which we keep on playing.
Quite a few times.
Which is for me is kind of the benchmark now of what I want a bluffing game to be. And if it's going to be that long a game, I want to be playing Battlestar Galactica or Unfathomable rather than Homeland. But it was nice how it did marry in with the TV show, which is a show I really enjoyed. But it's...
Yeah, and the character cards were interesting and the powers and things like that. But then I often found that they weren't ever going to match up with things that I needed to do. So someone could get lucky with cards that they drew sort of meshing better with what they were trying to do or not. Which our friend certainly did because his card was collecting him things that he actually needed for points at the end and mine wasn't. I had a role that just wouldn't have been ever worth me using. Anyway, next up, we played at Nightmare Productions, which was quite fun. Great one for the spooky season. If we get all the way to October, we're way away from it at the moment, but just a fun, light-hearted, make the worst or the best, or the worst and the best horror films that you can. It's
an auction game, which is...
Well, and it's closed auction, which I found really interesting.
Because I always thought, because there's no more currency coming into this game, I'm going to hog all the money by just not bidding, and then letting everyone else spend, so then I could control later and get the things I really want by me outbid everyone. It wasn't a technique that worked because I didn't have any more films to make. You'd taken all the films, kind of film templates, so I had no films to make. It
was just a filmmaking extraordinaire. I think I made about 5 films.
It was fun.
Yeah. No, it was fun. And interesting because you've got that balance of sort of bidding high for the thing that you really want, but then at that point you're probably going to be empty of cash and it's going to take a few rounds before you've got any money left before you're sort of back in the game per se. So timing with it was crucial. But it's an easy game to explain, very light, fun-hearted. I love the way that sort of you're adding sort of different types of characters. You've got the names of the films at the top, and mine was sort of a complete mishmash. One of them, I think it was a sort of vampire film, but it had Frankenstein in it, and then it also had a witch in it, and it's kind of like, oh gosh, this is going to be quite the watch for the viewers. So if you dive into what you're putting into the films and add that little extra layer of fun, I think it was good laugh, and it was quite quick.
It was, You fit it into the end of the evening. I like the idea of just making a really terrible film as well. That's fun.
Yeah, so I'd like to play that again.
I would.
Come October. We played Obsession again.
We did.
You've played Overboss?
I did, yeah. Well, the app came out for Overboss on Steam. So I've been playing it again. It didn't really work very well for technical reasons, so I was just like, well, I'm going to just get the box out and play it again. It's fun. I enjoy playing it. We haven't played it 2-player for a long time, actually, so we must do that.
No, we haven't. I haven't played it in ages. Yeah,
it's a fun little game.
It is. Valentine's Day, we got out Patchwork Valentines because
the season.
What else are you going to do? Always a fun game. Sort of racing along, getting those tiles, trying to get as many chocolates as we can in our version. So that's always nice, fun.
Get back into playing dedicated 2-player games, because obviously Geisha's Road has arrived. So it's nice to be playing 2-player games, which are designed for 2 players.
For sure. Yeah. Well, we did play one of our favourites, Red Rising, as well, which hasn't come to the table for a while. So that's another one. I think it might have been in your top 20.
I do love Red Rising, yeah. I prefer it to Fantasy Realms. I've talked about this quite a bit. Partly because the theme I like the books. And it's nice to teach it to people. And we did teach it with the slightly revised rules that you get on BGG, which I think helps. But yeah, as long as you explain a crucial part that certain colours can be used as other colours, I think people enjoy it more. But if you save that bit of information until the end, they get quite angry. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, that was fun. Oh, I played for the first time, which you have played before. Our friend came round for his birthday, and his birthday gaming request was Power Rangers.
Heroes of the Grid, I think it is.
Yeah.
We know nothing about Power Rangers.
No, he just got a new expansion for it. Yeah, I barely remember. I think I'm a bit too old for Power Rangers. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, I barely remember them. But the game was quite fun. We managed to defeat them in the end, I think.
It was less close, I think, than the first time we played it, but we still were playing on easy mode.
I mean, I don't know how you play it on a hard
so I think it does get quite brutal.
Quite tense towards the end as to whether we were all going to manage to do everything that we needed to do. And interesting, because you are sort of looking out for yourself a little bit, but also you really do need to work as a team in terms of sharing the tokens to be able to perform actions and giving each other different actions to be able to do, so you can sort of work together and be in the right place in order to not have to waste an action moving and things like that. So that was quite interesting.
It is enjoyable.
Of course we played Root. We played Scythe again, another favourite. So we've done really well at getting favourites back to the table this month.
And technically I've got another favourite in as well, but we're going to try it in a second. But in terms of Root, Scythe, we played that after playing Power Rangers.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
and it's always great. It's a 5-player game, and that's when it. I like it at 2 players, and I like it at big player counts because they play so differently. And I really enjoy Scythe.
Yeah, it hasn't got
didn't do too well this time because I kind of got boxed in again a little bit, and things just weren't really marrying up on my board. But yes, it was. I got picked on quite a bit towards the end, and the game ended, and I had dispersed across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I had dispersed, but I hadn't quite. I needed just a couple of more turns just to sort of get everything together. I think the end came sort of slightly quicker than I was anticipating, which quite often happens inside. Someone else has sort of married some stuff together, and all of a sudden, a couple of stars come down, and the whole game shifts to like, we're about to end. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not ready for this.
I was not prepared. I think I had 3 mechs on my home base. That was how bad it was. It was not. I had no workers out. It wasn't a good result, but it's always enjoyable.
Yeah, and I'd put out to get stuff when you build your mechs, and you didn't really build any, did you?
No, I'd already built them by that point.
Sad times.
But no, the game that I was alluding to that we really enjoyed, we played Pandemic again, technically, which is another game in my top 5.
Are we stretching it a little bit?
Well, you can see it's in my game of the month. We played Star Wars: The Clone Wars, a pandemic system game. I think is its full title.
It is its full title. I'm not sure that counts as pulling a favourite to the table. I think that counts as a new game.
It was new.
Either way, it was fun.
I would say it's half pandemic. There's pandemic-ness about it.
Oh, 100%. There are moments when you're like...
But I think it's a big shift from pandemic, in a good way.
Yeah, no, we really enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure. We'll link to our game of the month, and you can see us talk about that a little bit more there. But yeah, that was a fun one for sure. Startups was a new one that we hadn't played before. That we played along with a War of Whispers with a couple of friends that we made from the Foster the Meeple Discord channel. It's a great Discord channel. If you're not joined, then do. We all met up in London and had a fun day of gaming. We played War of Whispers, we played Startups, we played Hollywood. I can't remember if we played something else,
attempted to play Quacks, but some of the bits are missing, so we're like, well, let's just try and fudge this. It's really nice meeting Tom and Charlotte.
And
it's really nice meeting people from those sort of Discord groups and also meeting at games clubs, because you haven't got to hide your enthusiasm for board games. Often, when people come round for dinner party and they go, oh yeah, we play a few board games, you kind of have to rein it in. But when you meet other people who are such fans of board games that they've joined a Discord channel or they've gone to a specific game club, you can go full on geek. And they're like, yeah, it's like eating a brother from another mother. And it was really nice. I like startups.
Yeah, so that was really fun.
That's an oink game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Management game, really. You're controlling the prices of things, and that was lots of fun. War of Whispers, I think, was more fun. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that one, actually. Yeah, I'd like to play that again. Interesting choice of actions and position as you're going around the...
Yeah, well, I like the theme of it. You're not a war commander, you're basically Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, lurking in the shadows, telling lies and deceiving people and trying to, achieve your own goals without actually getting your hands dirty. I just love the theme of it. It's really fun.
And trying to work out who's looking for what points and what's the fact that you can switch your allegiances in terms of what points you're going to get it, but you then have to reveal those ones that you've switched, which I actually did towards the end of the game, knowing that I was going to lose points in one colour, so just did a switch at the end. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
The advice when we started playing is it's going to be quite obvious who you're really supporting. Very obviously who you're trying to scupper. The middle area is the fun bit.
Yeah.
So
that was a fun game.
I'd like to play again.
And the other one that we played was coming up on Kickstarter, so you'll hear more about that soon, was Ynaros Fallin.
Yeah, Ynaros Fallin is a fun little area control kind of card building quirky game.
Yeah.
Great for 2 players, plays with 4 players as well. But there's a video already up on the channel, so have a watch of that if you're interested in that.
Yeah, so we did that. And in terms of challenges...
Oh yes, so these mysterious challenges you keep getting excited about.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing really quite well on the alphabet challenge already. We've got 18 letters, which is 69%.
Excellent.
Obviously, the ones left are the difficult ones, but...
I think we've done a Y for Ynaros Fallin.
Yes, we have. We have a G, I, J, K, Q, V, X and Z to play.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's...
My cracks would have ticked that box if we managed to play it.
Yeah. So nearly done there. Where I was going to play 50 new to me games. We've played 18.
It's not bad for...
Playing old favourites. I am playing Blood Rage on BGA, but I don't think that I wasn't counting BGA plays for that. Plays. I wanted to get them on the table itself. So we have already done Dwellings, Eclipse, Arnak, in terms of getting them to the table of the ones that I chose from that. So we're not doing too badly there.
Because we're 6th of the way through the year, so...
Yeah.
Doing okay.
Well, yeah, that's not too bad. And there are a few other challenges on there, which we'll talk about another month probably.
Once you made some progress on them.
Yeah, exactly.
But what games have you been playing in February? Do let us know in the comments down below. Or if any of the ones we played that you really enjoy or that you don't, let us also know down below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Obviously, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we would love it if you would do so and ring that bell so you hear all about the board games videos that we have come up probably 2 to 3 times a week. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching.